Hi, I'm Brian. Welcome back to another On the Road video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com. Stop! Before beginning any repair, always be sure to disconnect the power to the appliance. It is also recommended to test the outlet for proper voltage. Remember to also turn off the water. Okay, today we're working on a Fisher and Paykel top load washer, and the complaint is that the washer did not complete the cycle and it appeared to have some sort of error code on the display for the customer, and it didn't seem to be getting water. Okay, so we've gotten the tech sheet, which is located underneath the control panel on the left side. That's where they put it on this unit. So we got that out so we could put it into a diagnostic mode, which explains how to do on the tech sheet. And we found that the error code that's in the system is number 49, and it shows you what lights on the display that will be lit for that specific error code, and it explains how this works in the tech sheet here. So we're getting number 49. So number 48, 49, and 50 are all related to hot and or cold water valve being faulty. So that's where we're going to need to go, is to check our hot and cold water valve and see if the unit, is filling or not filling with water, or one or the other is bad. With this issue, other things that the customer may see on the display are going to be, for no water or not getting water. In the tech sheet here, it says, that they won't get cold water. So the customer will see on the display that I am not getting any cold water. It'll actually say that on the display on this model, because it shows the two different models, the IWL16 or the GWL15, which doesn't have an electronic display. We obviously have the IWL16, which will have that. So if it recognizes it's not getting any cold water, it'll tell the customer that on the display. Also, if it recognizes that it's not getting any water at all, hot or cold, it will say that on display as well. That's a separate one here. And also for the hot water. So hot, cold, or no water at all, it'll actually tell the customer that on the display. The tools needed for this repair are a Phillips screwdriver, a flat blade screwdriver, and a pair of needle nose pliers. Okay, so with a no water issue, the first thing that you're going to want to check is your hoses. Number one, take your hoses off the back of the washer, which we've already done here, and put them into the sink or a bucket, and then turn the water back on to make sure you have good water pressure coming into the washer from the house. Sometimes there's screens on the end of the hoses, either at the shutoff valve or here, and those get clogged up and need to be cleaned out, or you just might have poor water pressure in the house somewhere causing your issue. So if everything's good there, the next thing to check would be the actual screens that they have inside this inlet valve. And these little screens here will get clogged up as well, calcium buildup and whatnot over time. So clean these out, make sure they're not clogged, causing your issue. And to remove those, you can just get them out of there with a pair of needle nose pliers, possibly a flat blade screwdriver. So there's just a little tab there in the center that we can grip onto with our needle nose and pull right out. These came out really easy. So nothing's clogged there on the cold side. Inside there looks good. Try this one over here on the hot. And definitely not clogged at all there. All right, so we're not clogged, we got good water pressure. So the next thing we're gonna check is the actual electrical components of the inlet valve. All right, so to gain access to the inlet valve, we need to remove our control panel here. There's just two Phillips screws to remove on the back. And to make this repair a little bit easier, to get this control panel off, makes it a lot easier if we take the lid off. So we're just gonna lift the lid, open the lid all the way and pull it straight up and off. And then now we're just gonna pull the control panel forward and lift it out of there. And if we wanna get this control panel out of the way completely, we'll just remove the harness here at the control board, push in on the brown tab and pull it out. Set this to the side. All right, so now we have access to our inlet valve here, and we're gonna be checking for ohms resistance value with our digital meter to see if one or the other valve is faulty here. So first thing we'll do is just disconnect the harnesses. There's just a little tab on the bottom, push down and pull out on the harness. All right, so the tech sheet doesn't give us a resistance value of what these valves should be, but we're gonna test them here and see what we get. So this is our cold valve, and I'm reading about 56 ohms. which seems to be typical for a standard solenoid valve. And we'll go over here to the hot side, the hot valve, and we'll get our reading here. And we are getting 0 ohms. So that would mean that our hot valve here is open. The electronic coil inside of it is open because we're not getting a resistance value. So even though power is being sent to it, the valve is not opening to let any hot water pass through. So for this repair, we're going to need to replace our inlet valve assembly, which consists of both valves. All right, to remove the old inlet valve, we're just going to need to remove this Phillips screw. And then we already have these wires disconnected. There's a tab right here that we have to depress to be able to release the inlet valve from the back panel. And now we're just going to slide it up and pull it through. And then there's just going to be this ground wire that comes over to the control board. Just pull that straight off. And then the harness for, this is our thermistor, our temperature sensor for the water valve, and it all comes with the new assembly. So we're gonna trace that back to where it plugs in at the board and remove it as well. Just gonna depress the ground tab on the bottom and pull the harness out. All right, so we're gonna take our new inlet valve here and install it. Just gonna get it into position here. We're just gonna make sure this is lined up here. The water port going down through the panel. And then there these tracks here, the back of the panel here. I'm gonna slide them in their tracks, and then we're just gonna get it all lined up here. Just push it down in there, and you'll see that the tab locks into place there. We can reinstall our Phillips screw. And then we can reinstall our ground wire and our harness to the board. And then we can reinstall our hot and our cold harness at the valves. Cold, you can tell the cold one has blue wrapped around it, and the hot one has red, and the cold one's also longer to come over here and reach to where it needs to go. Now we can reinstall our control panel. Take our harness and plug it back into the board here. And then we have the 3 tabs across the bottom. They're going to line up with the 3 holes here in the cabinet. So we'll line up that first. And then we're going to swing the top down into place. And reinstall our 2 Phillips screws. And last, we can reinstall our lid. Just gonna line it up here, straight up and down. Push it down on there. Make sure it opens and closes properly. Okay, so now we can plug the washer in, hook the water back up, and test it out. Make sure we're getting good water flow into the washer. And that will complete your repair. Thank you for watching another quality video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com.